What's good, y'all? It's your humble Rōnin here with another episode live of Lounge Rōnin, all things, everything. If you're new to the channel, please, what's good, y'all? Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. And on this episode, we're going to discuss breaking news. Kevin Feige stands by Marvel's diversity. Marvel is the world outside your window. Well, if that's the case, then I don't think he's been seeing the shit that we've been seeing out there. But if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Let's get into the article. What the devil? Oh, this might help. There we go. All right, let's get into this lovely article. Kevin Feige stands by Marvel's diversity. Marvel is the world outside your window. Quote, I said this before, woke and DEI became a thing, and I am still saying it after, the Marvel Studios president and producer said. Now, hold on. Let's get into the article before I give my comments. While right-wing backlash against Hollywood's efforts at diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, has led studios to back off corporate efforts to advance the practice, no, the box office is what made studios back off the corporate practice. The lack of money, the illegal practices that went against our own constitutional amendments, the fact that it was being funded by the government, which is, illegal, but that's a whole nother conversation. So it wasn't right-wing backlash. Those guys, Nerdrotic, Ryan Kinnell, all those fools, they just monetize the hate, and use left-wing tactics to justify their behavior. You know, you have the woke left, you have the woke right. The woke right is Nerdrotic, Ryan Kinnell, all those dumbasses. Those guys are the right-wing backlash. But many of them are not real conservatives or real Republicans. To be honest with you, they're mostly Democrats. But that's a whole nother conversation. So, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige said he stands by Studios' efforts over the past several years to increase representation on the set and on the big screen with characters like Black Panther, Ms. Marvel, and suggested the MCU won't be pivoting away from that. Everyone wanted Black Panther. Nobody knew about Ms. Marvel. Nobody knew about Ms. Marvel so badly that they would constantly have to cancel and reboot her comic book series. I would know. I have a couple of comics where she's featured in it. And back then, I used to hear about how she was constantly getting canceled. You go online and look for a massive omnibus of Ms. Marvel comic book series. You're not going to find it. Black Panther, now that's a whole different story. The Illuminati, anybody? So, your increase in representation, there's nothing wrong with it. It's who you're platforming in terms of your representation, and then how you go about representing them in your films and television. Let's continue. I said this before. Woke and DEI became a thing, and I'm still saying it after. Marvel is a world outside your window, Feige told reporters on Friday. It's not Gotham City and Metropolis. This is New York and LA, and yes, there's also Wakanda and Asgard. But it's all made up of people who make up our world. Wait, so there are no gay people in Gotham or Metropolis? What do you say? There ain't no black people in Gotham City or Metropolis? Did he just say that? There ain't no Puerto Ricans? No Asians in Gotham City or Metropolis? Wow. Come on, Feige. For real, bro? Like, I get it. I get it in Gotham City, every other person is either a serial killer or a supervillain. Okay, I get it. And I get it in, but like, come on, Metropolis? Did he ever watch Batman the animated series? Superman the animated series? There were black people, Latin people, Asian people, Indian, they were all there. Why? Listen, and if we're really going to go with New York, I mean, New York is mostly made up of illegals, and LA is mostly made up of cartel people nowadays. So, so I don't know what you're trying to say here, bro. This is the grandstanding and delusion that you get in these corporations nowadays. Especially with Marvel. Give me 1 second, guys. It's crazy. It's crazy what he's saying here. Very delusional. Very, very delusional. But let's continue. And I know he's taking a shot at DC, but it's just a stupid shot. All right. In 2018, Ryan Coogler's Black Panther became one of Marvel's biggest box office and cultural hits, grossing more than $700 million in the United States and earning Feige his first Oscar nomination when it became the first superhero film to be nominated for Best Picture. And do you know what won? A movie about a racist cab driver driving around a black musician in 1950s South. Very typical, racial buddy comedy film. Bullshit. Bullshit. Now, I'm not saying that Black Panther is this most incredible, awe-inspiring film. In many ways, it is. I would say it set a tone for how elevated their storytelling can get, and how they're able to actually challenge some very interesting political and historical concepts and themes within our world. And he's not wrong about that. That scene with Killmonger in the museum, the use of wanting to help the poor black communities, and in fact, actually all the poor communities around the world, these ideas, they were great concepts, and they are very a part of our real world. But somewhere along the line, you guys became delusional in these concepts and started pushing ideas and concepts that don't go with our real world. And that's the irony of Kevin Feige saying this represents our real world. Yes and no, because you're pushing concepts and ideas in some regards that most of the normal people in our real world, they don't really care for and they don't vibe with. So let's remember, people. Let's remember that the CIA has an office in Hollywood. Let's not forget that Hollywood is a branch of the intelligence agency and the propaganda machine of the United States government and military. Let's not forget that. So we can't pretend that our TV shows and films, even our superhero ones, are not influenced by the military and the agencies. I mean, hell, in Black Panther, they had the CIA be the good guy. You're kidding me, right? How many of these superhero films do they always have the CIA or the FBI looking like they're the good guys or victims? Come on now, guys. Think about that. Let's continue. The wild success of the film added more fuel to the conversation around diversity and representation in movies and TV, and how Hollywood could change its systems to eliminate the prejudices that led to fewer opportunities for women and filmmakers and actors of color. That's not true. There have been many famous Black, Puerto Rican, Indian, Asian actors who have been killing it prior to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Are we serious here? So Denzel Washington, we're gonna pretend he doesn't exist. John Leguizamo, we're gonna pretend he didn't exist. We're really gonna pretend all of these actors did not exist. That women filmmakers were already being celebrated and very successful. Plethora of actors of color were being very celebrated. I mean, you had a show, Into the Badlands, which was on AMC. The lead was Daniel Wu, an Asian man, and he was the lead, and he was like the stunt coordinator. It was a martial art film. Like, what are we talking about? That show came out way in 2016, 2017, around that time. So to pretend that Marvel's success somehow paved the way for women filmmakers and actors of color is complete bullshit and highly delusional. So we're just going to pretend Tyler Perry didn't exist? Say what you will about his films and all that, but how many opportunities did he give to actors of color? How many studios did he help elevate besides his own? You see, this is the kind of bullshit that I can't stand for. This is that woke left mentality. Oh, we are responsible for the success of black and Latino and brown getting opportunities. No, you're not, Marvel. No, you're not. And this is why Kevin Feige is delusional, and this is why his product is failing. Because he's thinking as if he's doing Black and brown people a favor because of the success of Black Panther. As if Black and brown people weren't starring in their own films prior to that. This is why you can't take any of this type of stuff seriously or trust anything that these producers say. I'm just saying. Let's continue. But in recent years, and now with Donald Trump's return to the White House, many Hollywood studios have quietly backed off DEI programs, either due to executives hired to run such programs existing the companies or mounting pressure from Donald Trump's administration to shut them down. Okay, let's talk about the fact that many of these programs went against our anti-discrimination laws. 1. 2, they were being funded by the Biden administration, some of them by U.S. Aid ID, but, that's a whole nother conversation. So to pretend that many of these things were due to Trump is bullshit. Many of these programs were not making any money. Many of these corporations did not want to do any of these DEI programs, but they were getting incentivized by the Biden administration. So more bullshit for you to spout out. Blame it all on Trump. Yeah, okay. When they were getting BlackRock money. Okay, all right. Let's talk about Disney's and Sam Bankman-Fried and their ties to funding the Democratic National Convention. But we won't get into that, right? We don't want to talk about, you know, Disney's connections to, you know, fraud or child trafficking. But anyways, let's continue. Marvel's parent company, Disney, rebranded its DEI program in past February to remove references to diversity and inclusion, though that didn't stop Trump's FCC chair, Brennan Carr, from launching a probe into the company. Yes, because it's illegal. It's illegal. I love how this article, who wrote this? Who wrote this? Jeremy Fuster. Yeah, you're full of shit, Fuster. How about that? Full of shit, Fuster. That's your new name. Full of shit, Fuster. The FCC already ruled that kind of stuff illegal. What are we talking about here? It literally goes against the Fourth Amendment. What, like, this is the issue with these people who also, you know, write these articles, you know, for these corporations. They're stupid. They don't know anything that they're talking about. This article right here is literally just propaganda for Marvel Studio and Bob Iger. Let's be real here. This is just propaganda for Disney. But it's fascinating the way Kevin Feige is playing all of this, when in the end, it's a white man who runs Marvel Studios. It's a white man who runs Disney. It's probably a white man who does all the other stuff as well. And he wants to say we're giving plenty of actors and people behind the scenes opportunities. You barely gave the woman, the black woman who did the Marvels, you pretty much tied her hands. You pretty much tied her hands. And then when it came to the woman who directed the Black Widow film, you refuse to allow her to direct the action scenes and allowed a man to direct them instead. So you don't give a shit about giving opportunities to your women or actors of color. Please. Wouldn't that be considered misogyny? But what do I know, right? Let's continue. As for Marvel, the studio found success with diverse heroes aside from Black Panther with films like Shang-Chi, The Legend of the Ten Rings, which set a Labor Day weekend box office opening record, despite the fact that moviegoers had not fully returned to theaters in 2021 following a year of pandemic closures. Excuse me, that film was not a success. And anyone out there who tells you that if a film breaks even, it's a success, they're fucking retarded. Okay? This is a multi-billion-dollar company. Breaking even on a film that costs $100+ is not a success. That is called a failure. So don't listen to that nonsense. That's nonsense, okay? All right, that's what we call cope. But on the flip side, Anthony Mackie's big screen debut as a new Captain America in Brave New World failed to pass $500 million at the worldwide box office earlier this year, with theaters back in full strength, at least as much as they can be in the post-shutdown market. While the 2023 film The Marvels, starring Brie Larson and yada 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 as all-female superhero trio, became the first MCU film to fail to gross $100 million domestically. Okay, well, look at that. $500 million. $100 million. Well, why did Brave New World fail? Maybe because that film went through constant reshoots. And that film had no identity. And it had nothing leading up to it that made people want to see it. On top of that, you had the bias online, the pop culture woke right, as I like to call it, Nerderotic, Chris Gore, all of those guys who just spent all year bitching and whining because a black man is Captain America, which I had no problem with. I have some of all new, all different Captain America Sam Wilson's comic book series. I love it. I think him being Captain America was a great idea, and it made sense. Having Bucky as Captain America didn't make sense considering everything that he has done prior to being reprogrammed back to being his normal self. So I'm just letting you know it made sense. And I like Anthony Mackie. But here's also the problem. You don't have quality writers. So if you lack the qualifications to uphold the quality of standard that Kevin Feige himself made, then your series are going to fail. Then your films are going to fail. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the characters, the Marvels. But the problem is how you built up these characters. Miss Marvel didn't even have the powers that she had in the comics. Yeah, they may have been a little silly, but there are so many types of silly powers in these universes that they could make it work. Captain Marvel, she was very cut and dry. There wasn't enough personality because you made her the stoic one-line man. That doesn't work with a female. And if you're going to do it, you got to look at previous works of art that were able to bring out a very stoic yet emotionally driven female character. A perfect example, Ghost in the Shell. Perfect example. There are examples out there for them, but they don't have the qualifications because they don't have writers who know how to write those type of characters, who know how to bring that. They don't have directors. They don't have directors nowadays that know how to bring that out of the actors. You've essentially made your quality lackluster, yet you still maintain the budget of a quality made film. Like, how does that work? How do you expect to keep making money? How do you expect to keep your audience interested? Let's continue. Despite that, Feige says he's extremely proud of Velina's performance as Khan, aka Miss Marvel, in both the Marvels and her own 2022 Disney Plus series introducing her. He called Velina one of the greatest bits of casting we've ever done, alongside Tom Holland, who became a star after being cast as Spider-Man in 2016. Now listen, there's nothing wrong with the actress. She seems like a very sweet young lady, and she's very pretty. But it's the quality of what you did with the Disney Plus show and the film. Like I said, you didn't even give her the original. She's not even a mutant. She's an inhuman. So you're already not even following your own comic book series. And then you make her the first mutant into this universe? That's not good writing. To me, that sounds like you're just platforming her. And you're like, oh, look, guys, she's Indian. And she's a superhero. Oh, and now she's a mutant. You don't even know what you're doing with your own universe because there's no consistency because you don't have that quality anymore. You don't have checks and balances. Kevin Feige is just running around and just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks. And most often it doesn't. Hence the lack in the performances at the box office, and hence the lack of performance in Disney Plus. Like I said earlier, they want to pride themselves on being a company that elevates people of color and women. And then literally in Miss Marvel's, you pretty much tied the hands of the brown woman who was directing the film. You waited so long to do the post-production, she ended up leaving to go do her other film because she's like, why am I going to sit around here and wait for this white man to finish up my film that wasn't even my film to begin with? You have the woman, and I think she was a foreign woman who did Black Widow, and you refused to allow her to do the action scenes, and you had a man come in and do the action scenes. You don't care about representation at all. Just like when the moment you got exposed for grooming kids with the pride stuff at the parks, the moment that got exposed by Project Veritas, the moment the USAID money started drying up, now you're not promoting any of that stuff because you were getting incentivized by the Biden administration to do all that bullshit. And look where it got you. Your parks are failing, your films are failing, your TV shows are failing, your streaming platform is failing. And when Epic Universe opens up, that's a wrap for Disney World and Disneyland. That's a wrap. It's a wrap. And you as a company, Bob Iger, you as a studio head, Kevin Feige, you chose to lay in that bed. So now you have to deal with the consequences of it. Because if Fantastic Four does not succeed, if word of mouth tells you, it's okay, wait till it hits the streaming platform. If you start seeing on social media people telling you, go wait for it to hit the streaming platform, you're cooked. You already are screwed. Because you now brought in a new writer to finish the script for Avengers Doomsday, and you're filming that right now. You guys have no idea what you're doing. You don't have the people who met the qualifications. You don't have the people there to provide the quality, and you've lost sight of what it means to be Disney and to be Marvel. Look at what happened with Pixar in their Elio film about a queer kid who gets abducted by aliens. It only made $20 million at the box office, and the budget was like 100 plus. That's like a cataclysmic failure. You guys have done this to yourselves. There's no one to blame but yourselves. Let's continue. And while he remained coy about Marvel's future plans, he suggested that the poor performance of Marvel's would not mean that Miss Marvel would be kicked to the curb. I think Iman is awesome both in real life and on the show, and I can't wait to see her in the future, he said. Meaning, we have no plans for her. Currently, we have no plans for her in the future, and if you do ever see her, it might not even be the same actress. I guarantee it. Well, they don't have any plans for her. They don't have any plans for her post Secret Wars where they reboot the entire universe. She might not even be back. So you can't trust anything Kevin Feige says. You sure as hell can't trust anything Bob Iger says. And you sure as fuck can't trust anything Kathleen Kennedy says. He extended that possibility of seeing other characters introduced to the MCU since Avengers Endgame, in other films and TV shows beyond the next two Avenger films, which are expected to be stuffed with heroes when they hit theaters 2026 and 2027. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I think Avengers Doomsday is going to get pushed back to 2027, and I think Secret Wars will get pushed back to 2028 or 2029. I will bet money on that. Let's continue. Feige acknowledged that there may be longer intervals between characters appearing in Marvel Studios. No, really? It's been 6 years since Blade was announced, and no film, no nothing. You sold off the outfits to Sinners because it was at first going to be a time period film. So please, spare me. We know we're not going to see Miss Marvel anytime soon. We know we're never going to see Captain Marvel again, Brie Larson's version. If we see Captain Marvel again, it will be a completely new actress. Just admit that. We know that this is what you're going to do. Please. Feige acknowledged that there may be a longer intervals between characters appearing as Marvel Studios scales down its rate of production from the relentless pace seen from 2021 to 2023 as Disney sought to fill its streaming service with new films and TV shows. Well, that's because everything that you produced was shit. It wasn't financially successful. It didn't draw in new subscribers. It didn't draw in new people to go to Avengers Land, in Disney down in Florida. You failed. You don't have the money. That's why you're hiring these B-tier writers and directors that you can pay them less than half, and you can control their direction, their directing, and you can control their writing. That's why. Because you can't afford anybody else. You're broke. You're broke. You're broke. And not only that, who would want to take a chance and put their name on anything Marvel has created or Disney right now? You'd have to be stupid, desperate, or both. Feige says, Disney and Marvel learned from that period that there's such a thing as too much for audiences and it's okay to take a break. No. It wasn't too much. Actually, it was. It was too much bad products. You were producing too many bad products. You burnt out your own fan base because you were producing shitty products. You were not producing quality. You lost your quality. You lost your quality check, and you lost the qualifications. That's why. There's no one to blame but yourself. You can't blame it on we made too many movies. You made too many crappy movies. You made too many crappy TV shows. That's what made you guys fail. Because if you weren't doing that, you wouldn't be in the situation that you're in right now. That was your choice. You chose to you chose to give up your quality check. You chose to give up, fire, get rid of everyone who gave you the quality. And you hired people that lack the qualifications to uphold the quality that you started off with. And people can lay out all of the Marvel films, and you can be like, okay, good, hiccups, a little hiccup, good, great, hiccup, bad, worse, terrible, awful. Like, people can analyze it. It's easy to analyze it. And 2021 and 2023, you guys chose to put out a quantity of a product that had none of the quality, and you chose to work with people that had none of the qualifications because you were being incentivized by the government at that time to literally go against our own constitutional laws on discrimination practices. But whatever. I mean, this is, to put it on the fact, oh, we made too much. No. You didn't make too much. You could have produced the exact same amount of films and television shows. But if all of them had the well balance in quality, nobody would be complaining right now. People would be probably content and looking forward to the next films. But like I said, you pretend that you're one for inclusivity and all of this stuff, but you force the female writers and directors to be complacent with the male direction of what they want it to look like. Kevin Feige. You refuse to allow female directors to direct fight scenes in their movies that you hired them for, because you wanted to have a woman direct this film, but you won't let her direct the action scenes. You don't care about representation. You stopped caring about quality. I don't know what you guys care about at this point. I don't think you even know. Like I said, at this point, I think you're just throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks, and then we'll just figure it out from there. All right, fine. But don't complain when people don't go to your films, when people don't sign up for Disney Plus. Let's continue. It always comes down to where the best story is, in which characters would be great interacting with each other. He said, you gave up on that idea. That's how you end it? That's how you're going to end this article with, it comes down to where the best story is, in which characters would be great interacting with each other. You don't care about that. You literally just said that when it came to Blade, and you guys can look it up. Shout out to everyone that's watching. Hit that like button. I appreciate it. You literally said that you didn't want Blade to be running around in leather killing vampires. Wait a minute. So the core concept of what Blade is, a man that runs around in leather killing vampires, you didn't want that to be what the film's story? That's like making the Punisher, which they've done in the comics, but he doesn't use guns. There's literally a version of the Punisher. I'm not sure if if they still have him running in the comics or not, that doesn't use guns. How does that work? And they wonder why their films and televisions don't work. Because how are you going to make a film about Blade, but he's not wearing leather and he's not killing vampires? You tell me. And this is how you know, like, Kevin Feige doesn't really care about the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You can say what you will about James Gunn. He does have his problems, but at least he cares about proper representation. You have to give him credit for that. And I don't think Marvel has the capacity to get back to Avengers Endgame level of writing and storytelling and world building. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think I don't think Fantastic Four is going to be that big of a hit. Excuse me. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't think it's going to. I'll put it this way. I don't think it's going to get people excited for the new Marvel trilogy. I really don't. I don't think people are going to be excited for Avengers Doomsday. They're still writing the script. They can't figure out the third act. And this is no different than what happened with Brave New World. When leaks start coming out, when plot details start coming out, and then you watch the film, you're going to notice those changes. So I just don't think that Marvel has the ability to get back to where they were. If they wanted to, you would need to get rid of Kevin Feige. You would need to get rid of Kevin Feige. And you would need to get someone very similar to James Gunn, but who has checks and balances. Kevin Feige does not have that. He's just out here doing willy-nilly. And I think you could say in many ways he's been exposed for his lack of real qualifications to hold up the quality that has been created. It's just something to keep in mind. And that goes similar with Bob Iger. The whole leadership at Disney in its totality is a clusterfuck. And they're going to be cutting back on the quality of, they're cutting back on the amount of money they're going to be spending on making these films. And look what happened with Thunderbolts. It had less of the budget than some of the bigger films like Ant-Man, and it still failed. And I would say that, people aren't burnt out from superhero films, but they're burnt out from the lack of quality. Now, if Superman continues to do well, or it just continues to build that momentum, whatever it may be, people seem to resonate with the film because of the quality. And maybe because it's closer to the representation of the characters in the comics. I don't know what's so hard about wanting to make things lore accurate. Why do you think the Halo TV show failed? The writers actively said they did not like the Halo universe lore. So then why create Halo? Create your own show, your own original IP. So, in closing, I just don't think that Marvel will be able to reach the stardom that they had, 5-10 years ago. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Marvel is going to be stuck in a bit of a weird place where their films do good but not great. They're successful but not really. They're going to be in a weird place, and I don't think they're going to be getting out of it anytime soon. Maybe after Secret Wars. But even then, like I said, if Fantastic Four does not do well, if the word of mouth isn't strong, and all the changes to Doomsday are apparent throughout the duration of the film, I don't see Marvel really having a future post Secret Wars. I really don't. So kudos to Kevin Feige for, standing 10 toes down, but at what cost? Yeah, you're right. Shout out Jack Reeves. Hotep Jesus Live is about to start, and I got to get the word of the day prepped and ready, and then I got to go to work. So we're going to wrap it up here. Everyone, please leave a comment with your thoughts down below. Let me know what you think about the future of Marvel Studios. Let me know what you think about their quality in the future of their films. Do you think that they're going to be able to actually maintain a balanced diversity that doesn't feel that they are checking marks, but really just showcasing the best actors with the best characters? If we can get that type of quality, then there might be some hope. But until then, I would just say, just be skeptical. I would say, don't spend your money. Wait till it comes on streaming platforms. That's the best way to show these corporations that you want actual valued change. With that being said, if you're new to the channel, please make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and until next time, stay positive, stay focused, stay true, and much love.